Final Fantasy XIV's Live Letter 81 just went down, and the recording was a little over 5 hours long. I'm here to break that down into something manageable while highlighting the important details that you won't want to miss. Let's get right into it. The live letter opens with a brief greeting from the heads of production, and immediately goes into the Dawntrail job actions video. I'm not going to go into deep detail about it because that may be a video all in itself, but I will put a link in the description so you can easily watch the video yourself. DDoS attacks and the benchmark update are the first things on the agenda for Yoshi. If you weren't aware, Final Fantasy XIV has been experiencing DDoS attacks recently, and has been affecting players by being kicked out of the game or lagging. Yoshi stated that it's been one of the biggest and longest attacks, but assures us that their security team is on it, and their team appreciates our patience while they combat this issue. On to the benchmark. He stated that when the benchmark was released, it was not in its optimal state, and the team is making the final adjustments to it. He also requested player feedback and brought some screenshots that I've been showing here. You can see a massive difference between the original benchmark release and now. It actually looks like a world of difference. On the second slide, I wish they would have used the same haircut for fair comparison, but I would say the mouth on 6.58 is crazy, and the work in progress does look the most aesthetically pleasing. With this Makote male, again the work in progress does look slightly better than the 4.14 benchmark, but not much difference there in my opinion. It looks like the teeth are longer too depending on which mouth shape you pick. I do wish they would put these kinds of things on a slider rather than having to pick a type to find out what you're looking for. The Lalafell teeth have been adjusted as well, as people are saying they are looking kind of scary. Sadly, there's no screenshots of any Rogadins. They did go over a few more details regarding the graphics in the bench, but nothing groundbreaking. Next up is the job adjustments. This is a big one for most of you as we are all often excited or disappointed based on the upcoming changes to our favorite jobs. Fair warning, they said right off the bat, this isn't the time for job details, but they do have some information for us today. Across the board, new actions have been added with the increased level cap, which is expected that we would have level 100 abilities. They also stated that they have made adjustments based on feedback with the goal of improving ease of use. They did articulate that this was to make the game more fluid rather, and not necessarily easier. Action change settings will be added as well. They were referring to how some icons will replace other icons. This will save buttons and hopefully help with the flow of rotation. They are adding an option so that you can choose whether or not this happens. It'll use more hotbar slots, but apparently some people like it that way, and options are always good. Tank-specific adjustments. Rampart and job-exclusive 30% damage reduction abilities will be upgraded in the level 90s range. Also, Reprisals duration will be increased to 15 seconds in the level 90s range as well. He did bring up an amazing idea where one tank uses Reprisal and it notifies the other tank. It sounds hard to implement, but that would be amazing. And now, on to Paladin. The second and third executions of Atonement have been changed to new actions with separate animations. Atonement will change to these actions so input execution will remain the same. More or less, it will just look different but play the same. A new action after Blade of Valor will also be added. Looking at Warrior, a new action which can be executed after 3 executions of Fellcleave or Decimate while Inner Release is active will be added. This will be a finisher it sounds like, and a new action that can be executed after Primal Rend will also be added. This sounds like another big damage burst action. On to Dark Knight. To reduce the number of inputs during burst damage phases, Blood Weapon will upgrade into Delirium, and the effects of Blood Weapon will be added to Delirium. An important note, Yoshi flat out said they are streamlining the jobs here, but in 8.0 they will be focusing on making the jobs more individualistic, which is huge. One of the biggest complaints is the homogenization of jobs, so for those of you who feel that way, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. Back to Dark Knight, a new action that can be executed after Living Shadow will be added. For Gunbreaker, a new action that can be executed after Fated Circle through continuation will be added, and a new 3-step combo that can be executed after Bloodfest will be added, at no cartridge cost. On to Melee DPS. For Melee DPS across the board, Second Wind healing potency will be increased in the level 90s range. Feint will also be increased to 15 seconds in the level 90s range. I think Second Wind will basically do the same health point percentage, but just increase to match our new health point pool. And the Feint change will help give you a bigger window in case you're in a burst phase or something. Looking at Monk, basic combo mechanics will no longer center around maintaining a buff of damage over time. Instead, performing actions in a certain order will increase the next action's potency. They do emphasize that the feel of the job will remain the same, while alleviating uncertainty about what actions to use when the rotation is interrupted. Thank God, I wanted to love Monk and Endwalker and I just couldn't. I hope this puts it in a better place. Next, Monk will be able to accumulate up to 10 chakra while Brother is active to prevent chakra overflow. I feel this is a nice change. Not listed here, they mentioned the 6-sided star will be able to release the 10 stored chakra, but no further details at this time. And now onto Dragoon, which is pretty important because we're all expecting a job rework. Let's get started. To reduce positional requirements for the single target combo, the 5th combo action here has been changed to a new non-directional action, Drake's Bane. Fang and Claw / Wheeling Thrust will change into Drake's Bane, so input execution will remain the same. Also, to facilitate the maximum damage output at the beginning of the battle, Life of the Dragon will be available without accumulating Dragon Gauge. And the final bit here, to reduce the number of inputs during burst damage phases, certain actions will be removed or adjusted. Interestingly enough, they address that this is the overhaul, and if you expected it to be drastically changed, you may be disappointed. Although these changes may help, I think they should have maybe not used the word overhaul for the past 6 months if they are just minor adjustments. Also not on the notes, Spine Shatter Dive has been removed apparently, and more changes are on the way. On to Ninja, Huton's effect has been moved to a trait and will always be active. Huton will be changed to an AoE attack which grants the effect of Hidden. Also, actions which extend the duration of Huton's effect will be adjusted in accordance with the above change. Saying these Japanese names over the years still hasn't gotten easier, but let's try it out. To simplify recast management, Tsubami Geishi will be changed to the executable after Mikyo Shisu. Also, Hakaze, Tenka, Goki, and Midari Setsugaka will be upgraded into new actions. Now Reaper. Plentiful Harvest effects will no longer increase the Shroud gauge by 50, and instead will allow execution of Enshroud, which can now be used when the gauge is at 51 or more without any waste. A new action that can be executed while enshrouded will be added. Here they give us a little bit of an overview on Viper. A fast-paced job that fluidly shifts between dual blade and double-bladed strikes and their various combos and abilities. It has a similar total number of actions to other jobs, but is designed so that fewer actions need to be set on the hotbar. They do a very special Viper display here to show how it all works. You can watch it for yourself at 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 15 seconds. For this condensed version, I don't want to drag the video on longer than necessary. The team did take a brief break here, and I wanted to take this opportunity to let you guys know that you can help support this channel by joining my Patreon. And if that isn't your cup of tea, clicking the like or subscribe button is a free way to help. Alright, back to it. Range DPS. Second Wind is receiving the same changes as Mellee DPS, and damage reduction of job-exclusive defensive abilities will be increased to 15% in the 90s range. I have a feeling AoEs are going to be hitting hella hard in Dawn Trail. Let's take a look at the Bard. Mage's Ballad, Army's Paean, and the Wanderer's Minuet will be changing into buffing actions which do not attack enemies. Pitch Perfect will be changed into an AoE attack for ease of use in encounters with multiple enemies. For the Machinist, Barrel Stabilizer will no longer increase heat gauge by 50 and instead will allow execution of Hypercharge, which can now be used when the gauge is at 51 or more without waste. Also, a new trait which accumulates charges for drill will be added. Looking at the Dancer, a new action that can be executed after Flourish will be added, and a new action which consumes E-Spirit can be executed after Technical Finish will be added. And for magical DPS across the board, Swift Cast Recast will be reduced to 40 seconds in the level 90s range, and Addle's duration will be increased to 15 seconds in the 90s range. On to Black Mage. Various adjustments will be made to streamline certain aspects of the job, such as restoring MP upon landing ice spells while Umbral Ice is active, instead of passively over time. Oh my god, finally! It was so stupid having to wait half a second or so for an MP tick in the middle of your rotation. Also, a new action which repositions ley lines beneath the caster will be added. I mean, Black Mage got hooked up here. This is a game changer. Being able to move your ley lines will make Black Mage so much less frustrating. And for Summoner, Solar Bahamut, a new summon akin to Bahamut and Phoenix will be added. And a new action that can be executed after Searing Light will be added. And for Red Mage, Manification will no longer increase black mana and white mana by 50, and will now instead allow the execution of enchanted swordplay actions without cost, and can now be executed while mana is at 51 or more without waste. The AoE Enchanted Swordplay combo, beginning with Enchanted Molinet, will now consume a total of 50 black mana and 50 white mana, similar to its single target counterpart. And now Pictomancer, similar to Viper, they do give an in-game demonstration showing how the job works. I will give you a timestamp so you can watch this for yourself. Pictomancer prepares by painting a variety of motifs or drawings, then renders them to life to produce an assortment of effects. Pictomancer renders multiple motifs to execute high-powered attacks. Done in order, it will allow you to execute a stronger spell. The Pictomancer is also capable of granting buffs to party and self. And for healers across the board, Swift Cast Recast will be reduced to 40 seconds in the level 90s range. As for White Mage, a new action allowing the caster to quickly move forward will be added. This sounds pretty good and is more like a dash. A new AoE attack, which can be executed up to 3 times after Presence of Mind, will also be added. Oh my god, is this a healer combo? This is good. I feel like the healing AoE damage rotation is non-existent, so this is great. For Scholar, Seraphism, a new action which changes the caster's appearance and enhances healing magics, will be added. I think this sounds really cool, and it will separate it from the other healers a bit. A new AoE attack that can be executed after Chain Stratagem will be added. This sounds like another combo setup. That's a good thing. As for Astrologian, the card system will no longer be random and will instead simultaneously draw cards with offense, defense, and curative effects. Every 60 seconds, you can draw out a set of 4 cards, and then you pick out which cards you want to use from those cards based on what's going on. This will eliminate the randomness of cards being drawn. Astrodyne will be removed in accordance with the discontinuation of Astro Signs. I think the changes made will improve the job, but I still feel it's a stretch to call this a rework. Looking at Sage, Eorzea will now enhance Dyscrasia 2 into Eucrasian Dyscrasia, an AoE attack which deals damage over time to enemies within range. Also, a new party buff which heals nearby party members whenever the caster casts a spell will be added. This sounds like an AoE version of Soteria. With the jobs out of the way, Yoshi moves on to PvP. 7.0 Viper and Pictomancer will be added, along with their own PvP actions and Limit Break. New PvP actions, action adjustments, and adjustments to existing maps are planned for 7.1. Between 7.0 and 7.1, Crystalline Conflict ranked matches will be in preseason. Rankings will not be updated, but the tiers and the crystal credit will be affected by wins and losses. Next, they gave us some information about NPCs. Bakul, Jaja, and Koana were discussed a bit, and their role with the Warrior of Light, but nothing worth going over in recap here. They just discussed that they are going to be two of the main characters. And here's some great news for some. Fall Guys will be returning from Thursday, May 23rd to Monday, June 10th. I will more than likely do a video covering this event as well later on. They do clearly say the event will be the exact same as last year. And here's some big news. There will be a Mountain Dew and Final Fantasy XIV collaboration, and this will be in the US only. To participate, you enter codes found under the caps of specially marked Mountain Dew products to receive points which can be redeemed for in-game rewards. For example, this Mountain Zoo mount. Everything beyond here is just regarding merchandise and concerts and the Japanese KFC collab that is returning. I want to go ahead and wrap it up here. There is a lot of detailed information that I brushed over here. If you want finer details, I put links in the description so you're able to comb through the live letter if you wanted more information. If you guys do want a reaction, dissection, or commentary on the new combat abilities shown, feel free to comment and let me know. There's so much to look forward to here. I want to thank you guys for watching my recap, and I will see you next time.